Arr, Pirate fans, it's time to find out the state of the ship of your defending champions for the 2022 season with your hosts, Johnny Wilbur and Jake Ignaszewski. And now, brought to you by Resonate, it's the state of the ship.
Welcome back into the state of the ship. It's Johnny Wilbur and Jake Ignaszewski. Hey, Jake, how's it going, buddy?
I'm doing great, John. How about yourself?
Awesome. We are just 6 weeks away from opening night here at the DCU Center, and the Massachusetts Pirates are going to be under a new wing this season. Head coach Patrick Pass getting promoted to head player personnel, and getting a new head coach as the Pirates have promoted Rayshaun Kizer to the head coach position, and that's a big move this year for the Pirates. Obviously, having Pat Pass, a former Super Bowl champion with the New England Patriots, was always high profile, but Pat was always in the background. You rarely saw him on the field or in person, but he had a big influence on the team since 2019, and now he's going to move into the front office and hand the reins over to Rayshaun Kizer. Obviously, no stranger to the Massachusetts Pirates, with the team last year as defensive coordinator, and really is going to elevate his game as well. And he's really fun to watch on the sideline. He's animated, and he really gets into the game, and he knows what he's doing when we talk about Massachusetts Pirates and indoor football.
I mean, you see it in the stats with how well he built up this Pirates defense last year. I mean, when you look at it, they led all of the IFL in 9 of the defensive categories. Over 17 games, only allowed a league best 31.6 points per game, and held opponents under 20 points five times last season. And when you also look at some of the players, how many players were on the first all team, as well as led in multiple of the defensive categories, like I mentioned. So he definitely has the experience as well, because before he coached with the Pirates, he was with the Bismarck Bucks as a defensive coordinator, as well as the defensive backs coach and special teams coach. So he definitely has a lot of experience in all the different areas of coaching.
Yeah, without a doubt. And it's a small field. I mean, there's not a lot of room to run around and coach. And you'll see these guys, they run up and down the field, up and down the sideline. They're allowed on the field. But there's so much more that goes into coaching and developing these players in such a short time. Now, the players will all reach camp around, mid to late February. And the game one is March 12th. They don't have, 4 months of training camp like they do out in the NFL. They got to come in. They got to get things done quick. They got to learn the playbook, learn the plays, learn the schemes, and really take in a lot in a short amount of time before getting on the field. And you saw last year kind of led to a slow start, getting off to a 3-3 start, but Pat Pass really helped turn them around, and Coach Rayshaun Kizer obviously was a big part of that defense and getting stronger throughout the season. And Jake, they've signed a couple more big names to the roster again, and really they've solidified the defense again this year.
Yeah, looking at defense starting off, Jamiyus, Pittman at defensive lineman. That defense is, I think it's going to be a little bit better than it was last season. With the guys that they brought on, with the amount of experience that they do have, it's really remarkable what co-owner and general manager Jawadi team has done throughout this offseason that continue to help this defense as well as the offense get better as well. As well as they signed Jalen Marshall at wide receiver, and both players have experience in the NFL. And so it's going to be really interesting, how they all mold together with not only the new signings, but some of the returning players in late February.
Patrick Pass moving into the director of football personnel development along with Jawad, and he'll be, making the signings and doing the scouting and taking, everybody into consideration. Jawad does a great job of that. One thing about Jawad as as the owner and president and founder of the Massachusetts Pirates, you'll see him out there at halftime throwing the football with the quarterbacks and warming them up. I mean, he's really involved and he knows what he's doing. It's obvious when he led the Pirates, personnel wise and office wise in one of the greatest seasons last year. He really, gels well with these coaches and the coaching staff. He's not one of the owners that just sits up in the box and watches the game and expects things to be done. He's right there and he's in the dirt.
Yeah, I mean, all the videos that I've seen of last year's games, you really see it, and he's just like that in the front office as well. He tries to help everybody else to make sure that the organization runs as smoothly as possible, and that we all live up to a high standard, because with everything in this organization, we want to make sure that we're going above and beyond, and exceeding expectations as well. But when you sort of look at these moves that they made over this last week or so, I think it fits perfectly with Kizer being the new head coach, because in a past interview I was watching, he really preached how the importance of patience is. And a lot of these guys that the Pirates have brought in, they do have NFL, XFL, CFL experience, but as we've talked about, the arena game's a little bit different. It's a shorter field, and so being able to have that patience to be able to show those players the ropes, and be able to show them what the rule changes are, so then they can get acclimated, is so important in a head coach.
Well, you even heard that in Corian last week, where he said, I have to get used to playing on such a small field. I'm used to playing outside on a big field, and having much more room to work with, and not having boards to run into, and things like that. And I think that that's going to make a big difference in having Coach Kizer, who not only ran the defense last year, but also was a player. He played in the CFL and had a stellar career in the AF2 and the AFL. So he's set a few single season records with 16 interceptions. I think the man knows a little something about defense and about football and indoor football. He's been inside the arena for a long time.
Couldn't agree more. And he actually gave me a quote this afternoon. He said, "I'm very excited and blessed for the opportunity to lead the Massachusetts Pirates for the 2022 season. A big thanks to Jawad and the team family for putting a lot of trust in me to lead this team. My mindset and expectations for the season is to win and compete at a high level. We have a great coaching staff in place, and we're looking to repeat as champions for the 2022 season." And I think that's so important, being able to have that mindset and expectation to compete at a high level. And even though obviously you want to repeat, being able to have that expectation of just going out there and working your butt off to achieve that goal.
Well, and like we've, as New England fans, we've seen, that they become champions over and over again, but they know that it's a new season, and every year is a different year. You have new personnel, new players, new head coaching staff, or, some new coaches. We brought in a few new coaches, and just all around, it's a new season, and that doesn't guarantee anything, therefore.
Yeah, I completely agree. And, touching on some of the new signings as well, I want to first start off with Jalen Marshall. It's kind of interesting when you look at his career. He last played with the Hamilton Tiger Cats from 2019 to 2021 as a wide receiver and kick returner. So he does sort of have some versatility. Kind of reminded me of a Guiviante Gonzalez sort of type. But during his CFL time, he appeared in 9 games with 10 receptions for 159 yards, while running back 2 kicks for 23 yards. But one thing when he played in the AAF that I found very interesting is he scored the first touchdown in league history. But something that I also found interesting as well is that he threw a 5-yard pass to quarterback Garrett Gilbert during a trick play. You don't see that too much. You sometimes see it with Odell Beckham Jr. and Jarvis Landry in the NFL, but potentially we could see Jalen Marshall tossing up a few balls into the end zone.
Well, you saw a few trick plays last year, but, they don't have as much time in the backfield to make something like that happen on the field. So it's not as often, but that's pretty cool to know that you have some capabilities of that. And, much like Julian Edelman in a spot where you have somebody else who can throw the ball. That's always great. I'd love to see Benefield go down and catch a touchdown pass from somebody else. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I completely agree. And he's also a guy who has some experience with the New York Jets back in 2016. Made 14 receptions with 162 yards, and he also returned 13 kickoffs for 324 yards as well as 18 punts. But it's nice being able to have that versatility in a wide receiver, and a guy. He's sort of similar to the other wide receiver that the Pirates most recently signed, Tio Redding. It doesn't matter how many guys are covering him, he's able to make those incredible passes. And one thing that Jalen has that I think is going to help him so well in arena football, even though with them being able to acclimate to the shorter field is tough at first. His speed and his quickness, I think, is really going to be a plus for him.
One of the things I think you see, Jake, is that the front office is bringing in champions, guys that have won national championships, guys that have won indoor football league championships or arena football league championships or Canadian football league championships. These guys have all learned how to win over the years. And I think the Pirates are doing a great job of rebuilding a championship team. And I'm really excited to see these guys get out on the field just 6 weeks from now.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's going to be really interesting to see how they all mold together. You know, Toby Johnson mentioned it in my first interview with him, just how important that team chemistry is, and being able to see the guys joke around and, you know, get to know each other a little bit off the field as well, I think is going to be really cool to see. And we also obviously saw the Pirates unfortunately start off a little bit slow, starting the season off 3-3 last season. But I think if they're able to all gel early, I think we could potentially see them, not have that early sort of stretch like they did last year, and they could just have a really smooth season.
Well, I think especially with the, returning core of the team, really coming back, and Benefield making a big difference. So last year they were coming in with Brackett as the starting quarterback. Sean was a local kid. I watched him play in high school down at Griswold High School here in Connecticut. And, I saw him come up through the ranks and to be able to watch him get out there, but he got hurt early on in the season. But I'll tell you one thing about Sean Brackett, and I would expect probably to see him on the sideline this year, is he was very versatile. He went in and he kicked, he received, he played quarterback, all of this after getting hurt, coming back after a while. He also sat 2 rows in front of me with a headset on as the scout, coach up in the box for a couple of games throughout the season too. So he really, it made a big impact, and I expect that all of the coaching staff, does whatever they can to make a big impact on a championship team. They want to put more banners up at the DCU Center, and that's going to be a big thing on March 12th when we get there. Putting up the banner, get there early that night. It's going to be an awesome time, and it's going to be fun to see what they have in store for the season. Always, of course, go to masspirates.com. You can check out the schedule and find out when they're going to have what nights. I know they just announced the Massachusetts College night coming out as well, and it's really just a great family fun atmosphere to watch a championship team, another one here in the state of Massachusetts, in the city of Worcester. And it's really, exciting thinking that we're only just 6 weeks away and they continue to make big signings on the football field or off the football field, getting ready to appear on the field. And another defensive lineman signed up this week as well, in Jamiyus Pittman.
Yeah, when looking at Jamiyus, I mean, he's a guy who I think is going to fit right into this defense. A lot of these guys, when you see the up front that the Pirates have, a guy like Toby Johnson, who's like a brick wall up there, won't allow anything to get by him.
Yeah, we won't hate him for playing for the Dolphins either.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So he played in the NFL with the Dolphins from 2018 to 2019, appearing in 3 games. And he also played 4 seasons at UCF as well. But a guy who he does have a lot of experience winning as well. In his senior year, he helped the Knights go to a 3-0 record. And I think you mentioned it perfectly as well, John. They're getting guys who know how to win, have that winning culture as well, and sort of have that standard. I think it's really cool when you look at some of the guys that we've talked to who are on the returning team, like Toby Johnson. He really talks about that standard of going out there, putting your heart out there, and keeping guys accountable. So then they're all in on the same exact goal of being able to, like you said, get another banner.
When you see veterans really stepping up like that and wanting to continue to be successful, I mean, once they've gotten a taste of success, you don't want to, change that. It's in your blood. They want to go out and they want to compete, and to have veterans like Toby Johnson coming back. Toby is such a great guy, and he's such a big leader on the field. And you're going to hear Toby talking on the field. That's the great thing about arena football. You really, you sit right on top of it, and you really get a good feel of what these guys are doing out there. And, these guys aren't 18, 19 years old anymore either. A lot of these guys are, continuing their careers that they played either in the NFL or in the CFL. And they really have a lot of experience. And when they bring that experience in and it gels together, it's great to see. it was a rough start last year. A 3-3 start was tough. We lost a couple at home, and the crowds really came to life. They came back, and the team put on a great performance throughout the rest of the season. One of my highlight memories of last year was after the game, we had a jersey auction. And you got to get in, after every game, the fans get to go on the field, and the players all come out of the locker room and they start signing autographs. It's a very fan-friendly atmosphere, and the Pirates do a great job at making you feel comfortable. And not only the season ticket holders get to go down on the field, but anybody that wants to go on the field after the game can stick around, go down on the field, and meet the players. And then when we had this jersey auction, and on the floor, we got to mingle with the players. The fans were mingling, and some of these jerseys were raising great money for one of the causes that the Pirates were putting out there for. And the players just really showed a different side of them. They had just gotten off the field. Luckily, we won that night, so that always makes it better. But they really do a great job at one, not only to win and do a great performance of playing the game, but putting on a great show for the fans as well.
Yeah, I can't wait to get there on March 12th. Feel the energy, be able to I've seen the games on YouTube as well as here in the office when they play them, but I can't wait to be there, see the live energy, just see the passion that the players play with, because obviously the goal is to repeat. I feel like that they're going to play like that each and every single night that they go out there. But we've talked about a lot of guys moving up is like with the coaching changes. But one guy who recently moved up is Justin Stockton, recently signed with the CFL. Montreal.
You're killing me, Jake. This is my buddy. Justin came into the radio station last year, and he recorded all the commercials. He was the voice you heard of the Pirates commercials. And after each playoff game, I was talking to Justin and doing the commercials right then and there. And he just was a really good guy and a great kid and a great player and one hell of a running back.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the records, he's an all-time leading rusher for the Pirates. And, the big question going into last season, especially the Pirates going from the NAL over to the IFL, was how are they going to do with a running back? For people who don't know, the NAL doesn't have the running back position. And so really seeing how well Justin was able to acclimate with the Pirates last season, I mean, it just shows in the stats, all-time records of 84 rushing attempts, 370 total yards.
Oh, he's just a beast too, especially in the playoff games. He really came through in the trenches.
Yeah, I mean, it really showed. And what's nice is that the Pirates did bring back Martez Carter. I think he's not only a great addition on the field, but also off the field. Everybody around the office has talked about his great leadership skills and being able to help bring the team together. And I don't know if you saw it, John, but a few weeks ago we posted his workout Wednesdays, and kid's got moves.
Yeah.
I mean, he's definitely going to be a force out there, and I'm excited to see what he can do. In a full season, because he only played 3 games last year.
And you talk about exciting plays, and I'm excited to see Jalen Marshall maybe return a couple of kicks, because one very exciting play in indoor football is that kick return. It's a very short field, and you'd think that it happens more often than it does, but it doesn't get returned for a touchdown very often. But when it does, it's fast, and you get the ball off in the air real quick again. And I think that Jalen, with that speed and his experience of returns, is going to have a good chance at returning a couple this year.
Very true. And, watching back highlights of, kick returns from Quiviante Gonzalez last year, you really saw, especially with the shorter field, how difficult it was. But obviously, he made it look super easy against the Louisville Extreme, doing it on the very first play of the 2021 season. Not saying that obviously Jalen can do the exact same thing, but we're hoping that he can replicate sort of what Quiviante was able to do last year. Being able to make the second IFL team, but like you said, with his experience, not only from his time playing in the CFL, but also in the NFL, I think he's a great addition with his versatility.
So you talk about Lequaviante. One of my favorite calls during the game is to call out something that he has done, because his name just rings out over the PA system so great. It's Lequaviante Gonzalez. You know, it just is such a good, strong name, and it's always being called over the PA. He's always making great things happen. And I can't wait to see him out on the field. And then, of course, talking a little bit about Jamiyus Pittman, who helped the Knights go 13-0, also earned All-American Athletic Conference first team honors. And in 12 games, he totaled 47 tackles, 24 of them by himself. This guy is a beast, 4.5 sacks. Can't wait. I'm a huge defensive fan. I love to see big stops, big hits, and big tackles.
Yeah, I mean, now with Coach Kizer, as the head coach, I think we're going to see a lot more of those, and I think that there's a very good chance, especially with how Jawad has really built up this defense to, in my opinion, be even better than it was last year. I think we could see there's a very good chance that the Pirates can repeat being the leading defense in the league.
I think so too, Jake. I can't wait to be there. We're just about 6 weeks away from opening night, March 12th at the DCU Center. You can get your tickets online right now, masspirates.com. You can find them at the DCU Center box office. And hey, Jake, why don't we invite the listeners or the watchers to ask a question? You guys get somebody you want to see, or you guys get somebody you want to hear from, one of the players, one of the coaches that you'd like to see on the State of the Ship, or if you have a question that you'd like us to ask or just answer about the State of the Ship, you can hit us up. You can get Jake. Jake, give him out your email address, and you can also find me at john@myfm. That's myfm1013.com. Shameless plug for my afternoon show.
Yeah, so I'll make sure to put that in the description, both on the audio platforms as well as the YouTube. But we greatly appreciate everybody's support throughout, the 4 or 5 weeks that we've been doing this. It's been a lot of fun being able to, talk preseason football leading up to the season. And, we got an exciting interview coming up next week with wide receiver T.O. Redding. We'll be able to actually figure out what the real pronunciation is. I believe it's T.O., but it may be Teo. We'll have to ask him and joke around with him a little bit about how they're going to be able to decipher Thomas Owens as well as T.O. Redding. But if you haven't already yet, make sure to subscribe on YouTube as well as whatever audio platform you're listening to. We're on all audio platforms, and we really appreciate everybody listening and watching. And we'll see you guys and talk to you guys next week.
See ya.